Phil, we've talked a lot about Sam and how successful the year he's had. I'm curious, with your approach to him being a true freshman, you coached a lot of young guys throughout your career. Were there one or two things that maybe you were kind of focused on early to kind of help him work through the freshman issues that you've learned?
The process in this offense is always the same. You're going to teach the foundational offense, which is the bulk of what we run every week anyway. And you want to get as good at that as you can. And then where each quarterback goes from there is basically dictated by his ability. How much I've had quarterbacks that took a long time before they started really studying film and learning the game, and so from a mental standpoint they progress slower. I had a quarterback that didn't comprehend the same way. It took a lot of reps for him to learn, and not just watching film and those types of things. So everybody is different, and the speed at which they progress and the speed at which we maybe add some things or allow them to have a little bit more input and decision-making ability on the field is all dictated by how they handle it. So that's a tribute to Sam, because we let him handle everything that we do in the offense, and there's no reservation about running anything right now that we do.
People see his stats and think, well, he's got to be close to the finished project. From your standpoint, though, with that process, does he have a tremendous amount left to learn, or is he pretty far advanced?
I don't think it's a matter of what else he has to learn as much as, you need to learn every week when you face different defenses, because you want to learn the strengths and the weaknesses of each. So there's a different challenge every single week. But in terms of learning the offense, it's not, it's a competitive challenge to him. He loves it. He loves the game. I've said that 100 times. So he is not afraid to put the time in that it takes to learn the system. He's just not. And so he's been a pleasure to coach, because as we challenge him a little bit more each week, he takes it, and he's been able to handle it. But I think it's just, when you have a great player, Coach talking about Tom Brady, when you have a great player, you're just working on trying to be running the stuff that you know really well, and trying to be as efficient with it as possible. And I think, throughout Sam's career here, looking forward, that's going to be his goal, and that's what it should be, is to try and be as absolutely efficient as he possibly can be running our stuff.
What element of his game on the field has progressed the most since South Carolina?
Just having the ability to play at the speed of the game. You got a corner blitz, he handles it. They bring a safety pressure and a backer, and he knows how to handle it. He runs the RPOs without issue, and he gets through progressions fast in the passing game. So, we have our handful of plays each game that I know he'd like to have back, or I'd like him to execute better. But mentally, I think he's where you want your starting quarterback to be. And the challenge now will just be to try and be as efficient as we possibly can. I hate to keep saying the same stuff, but that's what it is. The offense is in, the quarterback knows it, and we're going to work to become more physical up front. We're going to work to protect better. We're going to work to get guys open like we have. We're going to work to continue to improve the run game, and it's those things that need the attention. I think with where Sam is right now, we just have to keep improving the all-around package that he is right now. I think he's for a freshman going into the last game of the regular season, I don't know if you could ask more than what he's doing right now.
We know he's really good. Is his deep ball and the touch on the deep ball kind of elite? It's very special, or is it?
It's pretty instinctive. He's when he first got here, we tried to get him to elevate a little bit more. He has such a strong arm. He throws a lot of low lasers, a lot of low rainbows, and they're a little bit harder to catch at the other end. And so we worked on throwing what we call bottle rockets a little bit, putting a little more height on it. We have some speed. The speed can run underneath, these high balls, and so he's done a really good job. He did it in the spring. We kind of improved that in the spring. He drops fades in and post cuts, and the deep throws in really nice. And I think when you put the ball in a position where the receiver doesn't have to slow down, and he can run, he can gate through the ball, he can run through the football. it lends to being more efficient down the field. And we've been obviously very happy with our deep ball game.
Is there a type of receiver you particularly look for to recruit to this system? Obviously, fast and being able to catch the ball are important.
Yeah, I think speed is the premium. That's the number one thing. I think the first thing that I would fall off of a receiver for would be a lack of speed. Secondly, would be change of direction. I think there are a lot of things that go into a good receiver, but I think those are change of direction and speed are necessary prerequisites. If you don't have those two, we're probably going to move on and look at somebody else.
Phil, it looks like you've evolved with Sam to having almost a conversation with him after every snap, every play, either through an arm gesture, a facial expression,
Yeah.
mouthing something. Could you just elaborate on that and how your communication with him has evolved over the years?
It's the part of coaching quarterbacks that I enjoy the most because, I wear them out a little bit. I think we spend a lot of time together, and probably more time than any of them would prefer. But we spend a lot of time together, and there's such a value to that and to meeting one-on-one because you just know each other's body language and gestures and movements and facial expressions, and so it gets to be really, really easy to communicate with a simple gesture or signal or something, or you mouth something. It's easy to kind of manage. That's why I want to be on the field, because I want to be able to communicate with Sam. And now he communicates back as much, if not more. He'll tell me if he don't like something. He'll tell me if he likes something. If he wants to play, he'll suggest it to me. It's really no different than the verbal conversation we have on the sideline in between drives. We're just prepping for what we're trying to set up. We're trying to set up some things on one drive for the next one, and we discuss it. Some things we both agree and like, and some things we don't, and we'll trash it and move on. But that's all, to me, a benefit from meeting one-on-one and putting the time in that we do.
You guys have hit on a lot of big touchdown passes, especially in the last 4 or 5 games. Is that an indication of the receivers doing a better job of finding the grass that you talked about when you explained your receivers?
Yeah, they've really been doing a good job of that all season. I thought the learning curve occurred in the spring. Coach Galloway did a phenomenal job. And when we got to camp, we really felt like that we were starting to turn the corner. Those guys had thrown on their own all summer, and so we were a lot closer to being an instinctive pass team, in the pass aspect of our offense in the summertime than we were in the spring. And I think we're trying to push Daz along a little bit, and then it just clicked. And right now, if somebody gives us a matchup and we can take a shot, great. But if they don't, we've done a really good job at running our underneath intermediate game, and our guys do have some run after catch ability. So when we give them a shot at 12 yards or 15 yards, it's not always a catch and tackle. It's usually a catch and run, and we've been able to benefit from run after catch yards all year. So yeah, I'm really pleased with our receivers. I'd like to block better on the perimeter as an entire team, skill wise, but from a pass game standpoint, I've been very happy with their production.
Are you confident that, speaking of Daz has done everything he needs to do to get back, to playing this week?
Yeah, Daz is definitely playing this week. No doubt.
Was there anything you all found from the Mercer game that you think can help you all going forward?
Well, going into the Mercer game, I said the same thing. It's more about what we do. And Coach has talked about it, and he's 100% right. It's just we want to play at a level that gets us 11 weeks better, and then if we could have played at a lower level and still won the game Saturday, that doesn't help for our preparation this week. NC State is going to be 12 weeks better when they step on the field on Saturday, and so if we had taken the week off or we didn't approach it the right way or focus on the things that we needed to the right way, then we would be behind in our overall season preparation for this game, and we didn't do that. So I thought we had a great week of practice. We had tremendous focus during the week, and I think we had one drop on a low ball in the game, and outside of that, we executed, and I thought did the things that we needed to do in a game like that. And so I feel like we're 11 weeks better, and right now we need to do a good job preparing for state.
Where did Sam's throw on that 68-yarder that came back, where did that one kind of stand in
the better throws he's made this season?
Well, he does two things. He has a really, really quick release, and he has a strong arm. So he saw toe breaking free, and he let it roll, and those are the kind of lower laser throws that I was talking about that we don't want on the over-the-top deep balls. But when you have somebody open and they're starting to extend away from somebody, you want to put the ball on them so you don't give the defender a chance to retrace and recover and be at the strike point when the ball gets there. So it's just what he does. It's one of his talents. It was a heck of a throw, and it's a shame we had the holding call because I think it got toe in the end zone, obviously, maybe for the first time this year, and I thought it was one of his better throws of the season.
If you were to show a scout or really anyone for that matter just one throw from Sam's freshman season, is there one that immediately comes to mind that you would show him? Or?
Is there one throw that comes to mind that I would put at the top? Oh, I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. He's had a number of good ones. No, I think the fade throw that he made at South Carolina in the left corner to Dayami made a great catch. That was a heck of a football. But no, he makes them every week, which is a good problem to have. We're happy about that. To pick out one, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
What do you expect to see out of NC State defensively on Saturday?
Well, they're in a different front than we've seen most of the year. They're in a 3-3 stack front, so they have more athletes off the ball. They're more mobile. So the second level is going to be a lot more active to us than what we've seen. Thankfully, it's not the same defense, but there's a lot of moving parts in our defense, and our defense is difficult, and they're multiple, and so practicing against them in the summer and throughout the season helps you a little bit with that, with the activity. But they're going to be 3-down team, I would say, most of the game. They have a good mix of man and zone coverage, so they're going to make you ID coverage, probably some pre-snap and some post-snap, and those two differences make it. They provide different advantages, and we're going to have to do a good job after we snap the football of IDing whether we're getting manned up or we're getting zoned, so we know how to attack when we're throwing the football. And then in the run game, and I say this every week, but it's true. They have 3 very good D linemen. I think 29 is one of their best football players, the nose guard, and he'll be a challenge for our center. But we'll have to do a good job stabilizing the line of scrimmage and establishing a little bit of a run game so we have the balance that we're looking for each week.
You mentioned some of Sam's progressions. How's it been with ID coverage, such as what he's going to have to do this week?
Well, more of that falls on the receivers. We're more concerned with whether it's man coverage or zone coverage, and maybe a little bit if a corner has safety help or not. But outside of that, it's progression football, and Sam has a very good grasp of coverages, but he does an excellent job of getting through a 2 or 3 man progression or a 3 route progression quickly. So we don't want to hold the ball. We want to take stress off the O-line. You're looking at some quick hitters to get the ball out of his hand immediately, especially early in the game. I think most coordinators want to do that. You want to get your quarterback in a rhythm. But it's going to be more about, do we map out pressures and protect in our passing game, I think, and then in the run game, we've got to do a good job of game planning to get good numbers at the line of scrimmage so that they don't have one sitting there extra when our running back gets to the line of scrimmage. That's going to be key for us this week to run the football.
All right, thanks.
One more. Noticed you're wearing a different variety of cowboy boot today. How many pairs of cowboy boots do you have? You see a couple.
I probably have about a dozen. Yeah, probably something like that. Thank you for noticing that. I appreciate it. Yeah. So I got we got fruit snacks last week and we got boots this week. I look forward to next week's questions.